And go. Welcome back to Disaster Party Podcast. It is Rob Cedeno, and I'm here with, as always,
Oh, whoa, daddy, it's your boy Andy Bivians. That's Bivins, the one true whoa daddy. And let me tell you, I always love my queens. Cause today we're on episode 18. Whoa daddy.
whoa. And guess who else we are here with? On YouTube, you could already see who it is, but to my left, it is
On.
Didi.
Oh, Shawnee D.
What up, boys? How you doing? I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what the hell Andy's talking about. Talking about queens and 18s and all this shit.
What?
And you already lost me.
Whoa.
That can go in a lot of different directions, Andy.
A king has to love his queen, because tonight it's episode 18. Whoa daddy.
I see what you're saying. You're trying to be slick. With a
Oh.
little bit of rhyming action there.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah, a little bit of rhyming action right over this guy's head right here.
Oh.
Tisk.
Yeah, boy.
Oh,
So, okay, Andy, you said you wanted to tell a story. So, before we recorded, he's like, I got to tell a story.
I got a story for you. So, for the last couple days, I have had gout flare-ups in my right foot. And I was able to walk Saturday. I was good. Sunday was iffy, but I made it to the gym. Had a couple margaritas, a little bit of Mexican food. Bam, just like that, flared up again. So I woke up this morning, and I don't know, you guys have seen Wolf of Wall Street, of course, right?
Yep.
You know the scene where his legs don't work and he's crawling out of the Lambo, I think it is.
It's the best scene in the whole. That's the best scene in the whole movie.
That's gonna be me at 55.
Bro, that was me this morning crawling for some Tylenol and some OPC because I couldn't walk. So I'm literally grabbing onto everything, trying to pull, make my way into work. I go through the entire day in pain. People knocking on the door, they're having a whole conversation. I'm like, the crippled guy will get up and get it. That's cool. Everybody else can walk. That's fine. They're like, oh, we forgot. Your leg hurt. No, my leg don't hurt. I got a gout flare up. You try getting one of those. It hurts. So then I still wore my dress shoes today to work. Bad idea. You Johnny D knows. Bad idea.
I understand fully. I suffer from gout myself, and you could barely put a sock on.
Yeah, a blanket and a piece of paper hurt when you have
right.
Gout.
A sheet.
Yes. That's actually how I woke up this morning.
Oh man.
So my foot is inflamed. It's swollen because when you have gout, it's like little how do they call it? Little calcium crystals that build up within your joints. So
the uric acid crystallizes on your joints.
Yes. And
we can go on and on. We can go on and on about the science behind this, but yeah, no. I digress.
So it's the end of the day. I'm driving home. I'm like, I'm gonna take this off. Take my shoe off. I'll feel better. So I take my shoe off. I try to drive. I realize the reason I have my shoe on to drive because you have the sole of your shoe, like the hard bottom. That's what I'm using to press the gas pedal. I go to use my foot and I see stars, and I swear Looney Tunes and Monstars were playing a basketball game in my back seat. Sweet. So now I'm sitting here driving, like trying to figure out what to do. I put my car in cruise control. I'm like, all right, bet. We're good. I'm using cruise control. Use the little plus gimmick to go a little faster, minus gimmick to go a little slower, right?
Hit the NOS.
See, all of a sudden, I hit the minus,
too
and
fast,
the minus
too
turned
furious.
into plus, and it started going faster instead of slowing. So I hit the brake with my bad foot. Bugs Bunny starts talking to me in my left ear, like, hey, we about to crash, Doc. Luckily, I made it home. I came home, put my foot up, put ice, grabbed some more OPC, some more Tylenol. I haven't moved since. I'm exhausted, almost died, still in pain, but I'm here. Had some tequila. All right, I had a couple shots of tequila. But
what kind of tequila are you drinking?
which I'm sure taking them shots of tequila serviced that gout great.
Ooh.
Had to go with this. You know it's a bad day if Andy's drinking tequila. Just want to make that note because I hate tequila.
Nobody hates tequila.
I plead the fifth.
All right, maybe. No, I still hate tequila. I'll drink it, but I still hate it.
You're a glutton for punishment today, man.
Yeah.
All day.
Seems that way.
All day.
Yeah, that gout thing's no fun, man. That shit, I've had it, and I've had it where it's put me on my ass for a week straight.
Right. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. But how was your guys' day? You guys heard all about my foot and the Monstars and Bugs Bunny. How was your day?
Speaking of Monstars, you ready for Space Jam 2?
No. Not at all.
Apparently, Lola is in DCU apparently, and she's in the Wonder Woman DCU. Don't know how that makes sense, but
Rob mentioned DCU. They just dropped a new trailer today. Darkseid's got Superman on his knees. It's dope. You see Deathstroke. You see Joker with a playing card. It's awesome. I shared it to the Disaster Party page. Go check it out. I still can't wait.
I haven't seen it. I'm so sorry. I'll look at it.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Oh, so here's I'm going to give a little tip for those who listen and follow on the social medias. You could definitely tell who shares what stories on our Instagram page. You could definitely tell who shares what stories.
Facts.
I'll give you a hint. No, you guys figure it out. I don't care.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
You can definitely tell.
Oh, it's two different styles.
Oh, very two different styles. But I think it works. I think it works well.
Well, I'll give everybody a hint. It's definitely not me.
Yeah, you could definitely tell by hearing our conversations. You definitely know who shares what. But
right.
Oh, real quick, Andy. I know you said yesterday that you were going to watch The Office last night. I'm going to probably say there's a 0% chance that actually happened.
Is this still going on? Is this still happening?
Mm-hmm. He's only watched 3 episodes.
Started it though.
3 episodes 2 weeks ago.
3 episodes, and we had this initial conversation. We did Andy Office commercial podcast back in like 3 months ago. So you basically you averaged an episode per month since then.
It's better than before. I didn't have any episodes per month.
I watched 3 episodes today.
While he was working.
No, before I started working. Did you see, real quick, Sean, because you'll appreciate it, Andy over here will not. On Peacock, they have for season 3 only, I don't know why, but season 3 of The Office, they have a series called like Supersized Office, and it's basically the entire season 3, but extended. Each episode's extended, and it's scenes that are not like normally in there.
Yeah, they put all like the deleted scenes and all that stuff, and even stuff that was not included as deleted scenes in the DVD releases and stuff like that. I haven't watched any of them yet, but I heard about it.
I'm like 3 or 4 episodes in, and some of the scenes that are added are hilarious.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna spoil it. But like, Andy, watch the regular one first. Watch it enough times that you actually know what the real version is, and then watch it, and you're gonna be like, "Wait, I've never seen this scene." Okay, I'm gonna give you. All right, I don't. Whatever. Okay, I'm pissed off. We were supposed to record last night after the news. Something got fucked up. I'm angry. I'm talking about whatever I want right now. So you know the episode when they go to the conference, the Dunder Mifflin like conference thing.
Swag.
Yes, exactly. So in that episode, 2 things. One, swag thing. You see, there's a whole scene of him actually going to each booth asking, "Is this free? Is this free? Is this free?" Hilarious. He goes up to a chair booth. He sits in a chair and he's like, "Is this free?" And the lady's like, "No." He's like, "Are you sure?" And then, you know, when they go to check in, it's very quick. Like they just go check in, get their name tags, and then they go meet Jim and the other guy,
Josh.
Yes, Porter.
Yep.
So, the deleted scene, they go to get their name tags, and now it shows the woman who's at the name tag booth, and she's like, "Okay, here's your name tag. Enjoy Philadelphia." And Michael looks up and goes and says a name. Let's just make it up, like Stephanie. And she was like, "No." And then there's a talking head, and he's like, for a while, a couple of years ago, I was really big into like phone sex phone sex operators, and there was one that I made a real big connection with, and she lived in Philadelphia, and I swear that's her voice. So you know what? I had to take a chance and ask, and I'm like, that's so funny. But like that didn't make it into the show, but that was so funny. I was like, what is it? And then I just started laughing. It was really funny.
Oh, Michael.
Yeah, it's really. Maybe Andy needs to start watching.
Yeah, was it like part of the plan that we, initially when I was doing this regularly with you guys, the plan was that after each season he watched, we were going to come back and talk about each individual season.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell are we supposed to do that if this guy hasn't even watched a full season? And the first season's only 6 episodes, bruh.
See, then I'm halfway through.
Oh my god.
Wish we had like a soundboard on here. This definitely deserves some like sound effects.
Ready?
Like,
I'm making progress. It's all about moving forward and making progress.
Yeah, that's what you said last time, but you haven't made any progress.
It's true. Well, to be fair, last time was 12 hours ago.
No, when you made the progress comment about 4 episodes ago, you haven't made any progress since.
Well, and considering how many hours are in 3 fucking months
and 3 fucking weeks.
True.
You guys have shit to say about that.
Well, I died for 3 of those weeks, so it's only 3 months.
Yeah, but you were in bed. You could have watched it in bed.
So did I.
That's true.
I had to play too. I had to itis too. Yeah, you know how much TV I watched for those three weeks?
He could have watched The Office 3 times over in that time.
That's what I'm saying.
I did binge watch a lot of stuff.
I think there was I think he was putting some certain internet sites to use for 3 weeks straight.
Oh, daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I was building certain internet. No, let me stop.
Wait, what?
Whoa!
Is this a podcast announcement? Andy has an OnlyFans.
Woohoo! Well, if I had an OnlyFans, I wouldn't be going to work. Whoa, daddy.
No. If you had an OnlyFans, you definitely still have to work.
Listen, I've been hearing some of them be pulling like thousands of dollars a week.
He would just be going, "Oh, daddy, whoa, daddy, oh, daddy, whoa, daddy." Oh no, they would be saying, "Oh, daddy," and you'd be going, "Whoa, daddy,
whoa, daddy."
Nah, I'm sure there's some lonely housewives that will definitely pay to hear a young handsome man just whisper "Whoa, daddy" through their computer screens.
And that's why they watch the Disaster Party podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Because if you listen every week, what I do, what I say.
But you don't have to pay for that. You could hear Andy whisper the sweet, sweet sounds of "Whoa, daddy" here for free every week.
Oh, whoa, daddy.
Goddamn. I think I need to go up to the bathroom now.
And that's why it wouldn't work.
Rob's looking around right now, make sure nobody's around him, so you can have his hands underneath the desk there.
Oh, it's going down.
Double fisting it. Rob, if that's your O face, no wonder your girlfriend's always mad at you.
Boom!
Oh.
That was funny.
Oh.
That popped me.
Oh my god. This is not the topic that I agreed upon tonight, guys.
Sorry. This is going way left field.
Sorry. It's funny though.
Well, I'm right-handed, so I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, the camera does cut off at your shoulder, so.
Whoa, daddy.
Whoa, daddy.
I don't know what to do with you guys anymore.
I don't know what to do with myself.
All right. Should we get serious?
Is there a mode where we can get serious?
I don't know. Maybe we should get to the topic.
We probably should.
Yeah, bitch.
Word.
Cancel my membership. Thank you.
Ooh.
24 hours later.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Get him. Get him. You know you want to. You know you want. See,
I'm
this
angry.
is where I'm a bad influence. This is where I'm a bad. I'm poking the bear.
We tried to record this last night. There was technical errors. I spent the last 24 hours, well, first 4 hours trying to figure out how to make contact with these people to fix this stuff. And then I spent this morning trying to fix it. And then they only got back to me about 24 hours later. And they're like, sorry to disappoint. Cancel! I'm angry now. And I just got the confirmation that they canceled it. Thank you very much. We're moving on.
Yeah, we saw Angry Rob last night.
Yes, we did.
That was Rage Against the Machine, Rob.
Facts. Yeah. So you sent that text, and I'm like, "Yo, want to try for another night?"
Yeah.
If you think we're getting out a fun episode like WandaVision with Rage Against the Machine, Rob.
Yeah, no, it was not fun. You ever see that Inside Out? Is that what the show is called?
Were you
hear
the
that?
little red guy?
Who's pissing?
I'm pouring a drink.
Yeah. I mean, we're joking about shit going on underneath the tables over there, but it sounds like somebody's pissing in a bottle. That sounded like Dumb and Dumber. He's filling up the beer bottles in the truck.
Listen, here's a unpopular opinion. Dumb and Dumber wasn't terrible.
I didn't
talking
hate
about the prequel.
Yeah.
I hated it when I first saw it. Watched it again years later. Was actually pretty entertained by it. But the sequel was very, very disappointing.
I was about to say I like the prequel way better than I like the sequel.
Yeah. And that dude they got to play the young Lloyd, man, he was spot on.
There's chocolate everywhere.
Oh, that was the best part.
No, he's like, it's shit! It's shit everywhere!
It's on the walls! It's shit on the ceiling!
It was chocolate, but he didn't know that. Right?
And then at the end, he
We
hits him
know
with
that.
the car.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's shit all over my car.
Yeah, the first, it's funny. The first stand-up I ever went to was actually Bob Saget over here at Bananas Comedy Club when it was still here.
Oh, wow.
Me and Brent went. Brent hated it. He was miserable. I thought it was hysterical because here's Danny Tanner coming out on stage saying all this dirty shit. And I guess before Full House, he had a really long stand-up career, and he was a pretty dirty comic in the '80s before Full House. But yeah, he let it all out that night. He said some nasty shit about the Olsen twins and Kimmy Gibbler and all that.
Oh. Whoa. Well, I guess that's a good segue to Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh. I see what you did.
Wanda Maximoff.
Maximoff.
Future Scarlet Witch. Spoiler alert.
Future, you mean current?
Well, they didn't officially announce her as Scarlet Witch until spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
I don't give a shit.
I guess we'll get to that because we're spoiling everything now.
Oh yeah, let's just go into it.
I already spoiled the pay-per-view last night, so
All right, real quick. Christian Cage.
I love it. I didn't see it coming.
I predicted it. That was my first guess before the internet said it.
We definitely discussed that yesterday, and I said Christian or Kurt Angle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I didn't see it.
And then eat what? Page. Ethan Page.
Ethan Page, yep.
Karate Man.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right, so
And then we had Gilbert Sparklers at the end of the show.
I can't wait to see how they talk their way out of that one. Just remember when
They're
Seidel.
already trying to.
Well, remember when Matt Seidel went to go do his flip and he slipped on the top turnbuckle?
Yeah,
that was scary.
They made it a whole BTE skit that Mike Nakazawa, he oiled up the top turnbuckle, which is why Matt Seidel slipped.
I mean, it's very plausible that would be the case.
But I think it's funny how they talk their way out of that. And I'm thinking that they're already going to try, and they're going to try to talk their way out of this.
They've already been trying after the post show conference thing they did. They're already trying to.
Yeah, they were like, oh, well, Kenny Omega, he just sucks at making death, exploding death rings. So, and, he wasn't actually trying to kill people, And it's like, oh, okay.
Well, they're also saying, oh, well, he made Moxley think that he was going to hurt him real bad, and then he tricked him, so it's mind games.
Yeah. That's a way to get out of it.
I could see that.
The best thing I saw last night, though, was that tag battle royal. I don't know if you saw how Evil Uno got eliminated.
Oh, I heard that he just there was a mess up, and then he just ran into the corner and just flopped out.
Marco Stunt, or as Jim Cornette so lovingly refers to him as Dwarf Dong Sucker.
Oh my god.
Or Marco Stunted Growth. Anyway, he Marco Stunt did a head scissors on him, and it was supposed to propel him into the corner, and he just charged full speed 3/4 away across the side of the ring and just threw himself off the side. It was so bad.
And then I heard QT Marshall was like, "Fuck you, Goldust. I'm out," and just eliminated himself.
Yeah, I guess so. Heel turn.
Yep. So, all right. What we're all here for. WandaVision. The only series, the only season, only one. What did you guys think? Oh, wait, before we do it. Spoiler alert. Boy.
Spoiler. Hey, we're giving out spoilers.
Spoilers!
Okay, then. We are going into WandaVision review of the whole series. We're going to go through 1 through 9, do a little quick recap of each episode, talk about the commercials on each episode, which there were a few. Maybe go into the meaning if we were able to figure that out. Maybe go into some theories that we thought were going to happen. But before we do any of that, why don't we do a spoiler-free general? What did you think?
All right, I'll go first. I thought it was good. I loved it. I thought the beginning was very slow, but with it being slow, I liked the shows they were portraying. I thought that was kind of cool how they were doing that. And then when things started picking up, I was psyched, and then they just cut it right off, and I was mad, and I had to wait a week to see what happened. But overall, I thought it was awesome. And if you're right, and it's only one series, and maybe that series leads into the next cinematic universe, I'm excited to see what they do.
Me too.
Yeah, no, I loved it. It was, a lot of people had issues with the first. I personally didn't, because I went into it kind of knowing that they were going to kind of do this hokey, old-timey, old-style, sitcom type of deal. But I like the way it very slowly, gradually built. And when it started building, once you get halfway through the series or so, and it just started going, and it's just oh, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? Really, and it kind of opened up a lot of the possibilities that kind of opened up. Was pretty cool. Led to a lot of speculation about a lot of things, a lot of fan theories, all that stuff. I really. I lost my damn train of thought.
That's why we are disaster.
Speak for yourself, a-holes. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed the build. All that. I will say, when I watched the finale on Friday, I was a little disappointed because I think I set my own expectations too high. Certain theories I had that did not take place, I was a little disappointed in, but a couple days removed from it now, and kind of thinking about the possibilities that has opened. Obviously, this show is a lead-in to certain things for the next phase of the Marvel, movie universe, MCU, and all that. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Same. I'll keep it quick. I'll keep it simple. I agree with both of them. It started out slow, but I didn't think so. But people were complaining, which just let it be. Like I honestly thought it was a well put. Like it started out slow, it started out confusing, and then that was the point of it to set up the boom. Like this is what's actually happening. And then once like season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hit, it was like a roller coaster, just going like woo. But it was the fun part. Like the whole 1, 2, and 3 was just going up the hill, waiting for the drop. And then after the roller coaster hit, and then it was like a wild ride after that. So again, I'll say I enjoyed it. Again, there was a lot of theories going out there, a lot of theories I had from myself, but overall, I think they did it really well. They did change things up from the comic books, which I enjoyed. So it wasn't as predictable as that a lot of people like their theories were, and I'm glad that they did do that. And then also the fact that this is going to tie in with Doctor Strange and apparently Spider-Man, but I didn't see, like, we'll get into it, but I didn't see like anything that really showed that it tied in with Spider-Man yet.
Well, I think maybe we're jumping ahead here. We can talk about this more so at the end in more detail, but just the whole multiverse. The next Spider-Man movie is supposed to delve into that, true. And then on top of Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man 3. This is also gonna lead into Captain Marvel 2, and also the Secret Invasion story.
Yes. Could Rob's theory be right?
Probably.
I hope so.
We'll see at Black Widow. You remember my theory, Sean, that Black Widow's not really dead. She was a Skrull.
I do. I still am not on board with it 100%, but time will tell.
Why do a movie with someone who's already dead? Doesn't make any sense. They're about to set the tone.
Oh, I'm excited.
That's how, watch, they're going to bring back Captain America that way. They're going to be like, that was never Captain America. He was a Skrull. They can bring Tony Stark back that way. He was a Skrull.
He was a Skrull.
Boom.
They can't do that. They should not do that with everybody, though.
No, of course not. But they could. They could do that with Quicksilver. They can do that with anyone who's died so far. Even the bad guys, they could do that.
Yeah.
Ooh,
all right. Andy. Start us off, bro.
All righty. Here we go. Episode 1, filmed before a live studio audience, which aired January 15th. It's black and white. It's set in the 50s. It kind of got like this I Love Lucy, Bewitched feel. It's got the laugh track. It's got the crowd in the background. You meet the neighbor Agnes, and you see the heart on the calendar, which is the 23rd. Now, apparently, that date has some significance with like being together and like bringing people together in love. So there's that. And then it switches to a commercial.
Yes, the commercial.
The Stark Industries toaster that blinks a red light.
Which, at that point, we didn't know what that toaster meant. I know that a lot of people were like, oh, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? But you don't really know until... They do explain it later, but at this point, you don't really know what it's all about.
I was confused when I saw that. Highly confused.
So after the commercial, that's like kind of to summarize that Wanda and Vision have Vision's boss and his wife over, and they had this like nice dinner, and then all of a sudden they started asking them about like where they're from, how they met, and all this stuff, and the boss started choking, and then it was weird. Everyone was like silent, not talking. It was just like a weird situation, and then Wanda was like, "Save him." And then he just went boom, pulled out the whatever steak or whatever it was, and then all of a sudden the husband and wife, the boss husband and wife, were like, "Okay, we'll see you later." And then they leave, and then all of a sudden Wanda's like, "Yeah, maybe we should get married." And then they make some like imaginary rings, like wedding rings, and then they sit on the couch, and please stand by. with a notepad or a TV show with the sword logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dinner scene is where it really picked up. The first half, the first 3/4 of that episode. You're sitting there, you're enjoying it. It's got the quirkiness of like the '50s sitcoms and whatnot. And then that dinner scene, it's like, okay, there's like that glitch in the matrix or whatever's going on there, and that's the first big moment that kind of gets your head going. Like, okay, where are they going with this? What's happening here? And then there's a similar moment in the next episode as well, which we'll get to shortly.
Yeah. So I put in my notes a couple of extra little scenes. So basically, this episode shows that Wanda and Vision got married, like very quickly when they put a wedding ring on. So in the comic books, Wanda and Vision married in 1975, and they actually got divorced in 1989 after something happens to Vision, which does happen to Vision in this series, but we'll get back to that at that point. And SWORD, so the logo on the TV is for the Sentinel Weapon Observation and Response Division, known as SWORD. So basically, to summarize that up, they're basically a space force. That's the easiest way to sum it up. Like, they're basically like S.H.I.E.L.D., but S.H.I.E.L.D. is more for the planet, for Earth. SWORD is more for, space and other planets.
Correct.
All right, hit us up with episode 2, Andy.
Episode 2, Don't Touch That Dial, aired January 15th. This one now switches over to the 1960s. It's pretty much Bewitched. Still in black and white. It opens with them in separate beds. As the normal sitcoms, you got the husband in one bed, the wife in the other. But then all of a sudden they hear a noise and it ends up being a branch. And then they just magically combine the beds together and bam, one bed. So then the opening credits, like, you realize that they're still in Westview, and
they are in Westview. We don't know about that yet.
Well, you realize that they are in Westview, and they start practicing for a magic show, and Vision pretty much thinks like magic is like, or the way they're doing magic tricks is like fake, and Wanda goes to him and says, in a real magic act, everything is fake. So pretty much try to explain everything to him. Vision then goes to this neighborhood watch meeting, and he has a piece of gum, okay? And after he takes his piece of gum, it gets stuck in like his gears, and then all of a sudden now he's drunk. So he starts acting crazy. And then Wanda hears a noise again and looks outside, and she sees a helicopter, like a toy helicopter that's sitting there. But on the toy helicopter, in color, you could see the word SWORD on it. And Agnes brings Wanda over to a meeting to talk about the magic show and set everything up. And this is where we meet Dottie. And Agnes pretty much tells Wanda, like, Dottie is the key to everything. And Dottie continues to say that it's for the children, even though at this point we haven't seen any children at all. And this is also where we meet Geraldine, which is another neighbor at the meeting. And so Dottie and Wanda start talking after the meeting, and the conversation gets extremely weird. And then all of a sudden you see Wanda kind of tune out, and then she hears on the radio, Wanda, who's doing this to you? Wanda. Then Dottie kind of snaps out of her trance and crushes a glass in her hand. As you see, she starts bleeding from the cut in her hand, but the blood is actually red. It's not in black and white this time. And then we get switched to a commercial.
Oh, let me do the commercial.
Do it.
All right. So the commercial it's the same two people. It's a couple from the first commercial, but this week they're all dressed up. And it's a watch commercial. So you see the guy like showing off his watch, and the brand is called Strucker. And for the comic nerds, Strucker is the last name of the guy who basically kidnapped the twins, Wanda and her brother, and held them captive and used them as like weapons. In the Age of Ultron. So if you've seen Age of Ultron, you know who I'm talking about.
Well, they ran all the experiments on them, and essentially that's how they ended up like, getting their powers or realizing their powers, all that stuff.
And then also on the watch is the Hydra symbol.
Yep.
So We'll at the end of this episode we'll talk about like what Hydra means.
I will say, like, out of all the commercials, that one to me was one of the most obvious ones.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
You know, some of them were a little more cryptic, like the toaster in the previous episode was pretty cryptic, but this one stood out like a sore thumb to me.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so back to the episode. We got drunk Vision. Because again, I guess the gum kind of messed up his system, so he's all drunk. And Wanda's trying to say, "Oh, something's weird's happening in the town," but Vision's not having it because he's drunk, he doesn't care. So they start doing they're at the magic show, and obviously they're up because it's a sitcom, and that's how it works. And they're basically doing their magic show, but because Vision's drunk, he is using his actual powers, and Wanda is now using her powers to disguise his powers as if they're fake. So it's kind of like a little funny little act right there. So whatever.
Oh, that whole scene was hysterical, and Paul Bettany should get some kind of like an Emmy or some crap for that scene alone.
It was really funny. So once they all won, Wanda removes the gum backstage, and they come back out and they won comedy act, the best comedy act, and the crowd cheers, and again for the children. But where are the children? Where are those fucking kids?
Well, yeah, there's like no kids in the entire town. You haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, it's so weird. And then all of a sudden we go back to their house and they're chatting, and then boom, one looks down and she's pregnant. So then we're heading toward the end of the episode. So they hear another noise outside. So that's the third time they hear noise outside. They go out. You know, Wanda's rubbing her pregnant belly. That just happened. So she went from like not pregnant to pregnant real quick. They see a man climbing out of a manhole in a bee costume with bees all around him. And it has the sword logo on his bee outfit. And basically, Wanda says, no. And then she rewinds time. And they end up back in the house. And all of a sudden they kiss, and everything goes from black and white to color.
Aww.
Yeah. And then end of episode, and you hear, Wanda, Wanda. Same thing that you heard earlier from the radio. And the episode was over.
Dunzo.
You want to hit the extra?
Sure. So for the extra, a powerful group is trying to take over the world and trying to bring back a powerful human named Mammoth associated with.
Yeah, that's Hydra. Yeah, so basically they're associated with the Nazis, Hydra. If you've seen the first Captain America, the first Avenger, and then apparently they're trying to, in the comic books, they're trying to bring back a powerful Inhuman named Mammoth or Maeth, Maveth.
It's Maven.
Andy, talk again.
It's Maven.
You sound like you're really far away, bro.
Do I now?
Now you don't.
No, that's good.
Yeah, that was solid.
I have my Tyson voice on. I was trying to say Maven.
Oh, okay.
You should stop doing it. You should.
Can you turn your mic volume up a little bit?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Only for the Tyson impression though. It's the only time he needs it.
I'll just get closer to the mic.
Do you want me to start the next episode?
Go for it.
All right. So episode 3, Now in Color. It aired June 22nd. And it's 70s vibe. So it's like more of like a Brady Bunch feel. Wanda's still pregnant. She's getting checked out by the doctor. And apparently she's 4 months pregnant in about 45 seconds. If only it was that fast. Anyways.
When you create the world around you, it could be anything you want.
That's true, but we don't know that.
Oh, my bad. Spoilers.
So basically, Vision wants the doctor out. We get to meet the neighbor Herb. He's cutting he is cutting a stone wall with a chainsaw with Agnes next to him. They're both smiling. It's kind of weird. Wanda is using her powers back inside, putting the nursery together, and they basically both were like, "Oh well, I want the name to be Tommy, and I want the name to be Billy." Little do they know, spoiler, they have twins. So Wanda has contractions. Everything gets weird because obviously, like Sean just spoiled, she controls everything. So when she has a contraction, everything's getting all funky around there. And then it starts raining, and she goes, "I think my water broke." Ha ha ha! Funny. So you want to hit the commercial?
Sure. So this commercial, we have the same people as the husband and wife doing chores, and the narrator goes, "Do you need a break? Escape from a world of all your own, where your problems just float away." And it's an ad for Hydra Soap, luxury bath, and find the goddess within. And I feel like this commercial is almost trying to tell us what's going on here in Westview, and kind of trying to tell us what's going on with Vision and Wanda. I understood this one a little more than I did the other ones, but
Okay. All right. Do you want to explain?
what? How I understood this one a little more?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's pretty much saying that like Wanda created this entire world, and everybody else is kind of just living in it, so to speak. And you kind of get that because she hears the radio, so she hears that something else is going on. She starts to realize like, hey, something's not right here. Well, then it snaps back. So
it's almost like she almost they kind of imply that she doesn't know what's going on herself yet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So back to the episode. Geraldine, who we met last episode, she shows up to the house saying her pipes burst. A comedy scene because obviously no one in town knows that Wanda's pregnant, so she's like hiding her belly, and all of a sudden she has contractions. And Vision and the doctor come back, but Geraldine is helping deliver the babies. Okay, and so in about 10 minutes, she goes from 0 to 9 months pregnant. After the babies were born, the doctor leaves and says small towns are hard to escape, which I thought was a smart line. And then Agnes and Herb are still outside just smiling. It was kind of weird. So basically, this is a kind of weird scene. So that she comes back, goes back inside. You got Geraldine and Wanda talking, and Wanda basically says she had a brother, and Geraldine out of nowhere, again, we haven't really seen anything from the outside world, says he was killed by Ultron, wasn't he? So Wanda's like, what the fuck? So she asks her to leave, and she sees a necklace that Geraldine's wearing, and it has a sword logo on there. And she's like, that's weird. And then outside, Herb and Agnes are like, yeah, Geraldine doesn't have any house, any family. She doesn't belong here. And then you go back inside, and yeah, Vision's like, where did Geraldine go? And Wanda's like, yeah, she left, but you don't know what happened to her.
So Maximoffed her.
Yeah, she did.
Max.
So then we go back to like what it looks like as like normal day. It doesn't fit into the Brady Bunch vibe, doesn't fit into the 70s vibe. And you see a beaten up sign of Westview, which is the town that they're in. And all of a sudden, boom, someone gets shot out of this like force field thing, and it's Geraldine. So it seems at this point she got shot out of whatever Westview 70s vibe it is.
Trespasser got booted.
You don't live here. Get out.
You don't live here no more.
Get out.
All right, Andy, hit 4.
So here we have episode 4. We interrupt this program. Aired January 29th. Big episode. Episode opens up with dust forming into Geraldine in a hospital. So if you remember from the other movies, it's pretty much the snap coming back.
Yeah.
And the reverse snap.
Yeah, that brings everybody back. Which was from Hulk, I believe. Right?
This is Hulk snap from Endgame.
Yes.
When he brought everybody back.
Yes.
Oh, it's not Thor.
So
it's not Iron Man snap.
No, because Iron Man snap killed off all the bad guys and Thanos, but the Thor or Hulk snap from inside the facility before they got attacked is the one that brought everybody back.
Yes, yeah.
So this
is like the chaos in the hospital.
Yeah. This is 5 years now. She's been gone for 5 years because of the snap. Like as Sean said, chaos in the hospital. She's running into her mom's room, and the doctors pretty much tells her that her mom's dead. Can't understand what happened. So now we switch to Sword headquarters and find out that her name is actually Monica Rambeau. And that's where
Geraldine is not named Geraldine?
No, she is Monica Rambeau. And here we switch to her inside the Sword headquarters, where you finally meet director Tyler Hayward, and it's been 3 weeks since the snap returns. You find out Rambo started, or Maria Rambo, I'm sorry, her mother started Sword, and Monica finds out that she's grounded from duty. So she went to Westview to kind of help with the missing persons case. And then you get to see James Woo. He's starting to be one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he's absolutely.
Jimmy.
So he flips a card and introduces himself as the FBI and does a magic trick, which, if you remember, is the same magic trick that Ant-Man said that he wanted Ant-Man to show him when he was
Ant-Man vs. Wasp
2.
Or yep. Ant-Man Wasp.
Yep. So the local police are acting weird, saying that Westview doesn't exist, even though they say they're standing next to the Westview sign. Monica pulls out a toy helicopter and flies it towards the town. Same helicopter that you saw with the colored words that Wanda found. And Monica realizes that there's an energy field around the town and touches it, and then she pretty much gets sucked back into it.
And Jimmy Woo has no idea what the hell happened. And
he's like,
what? There, like, what the hell?
Where did she go?
Monica!
So 24 hours later, they finally showed Darcy Lewis from Thor, Jane Foster's assistant, and now they're at a military camp outside the energy field. Darcy figures out that there's radioactive waves coming through and asks for a TV, a very, very old TV. You see Sword,
the kind that gives you cancer.
Yeah, the one you got to get up.
She goes, not a flat.
Something that's not a smart TV. So you see Sword agents trying to get into town by the sewers. And if you remember before,
spoiler.
Agent, right?
It comes up.
Does it come? Oh, it does come up in this one?
Yeah.
So I'll cut it there. So they go back inside, and Darcy gets a hold of it and converts the radioactive waves into a TV channel, and it starts showing
everything that we've already been watching.
Yep.
Showing that it was Darcy with the notebook at the end of episode 1, and Sword now figures out who the characters are inside the hex, and then all of a sudden they see Monica. So Darcy has an idea. The radioactive waves in reverse to make contact with Wanda, and it shows the radio scene with Dottie where you hear them say Wanda. That's actually Jimmy Woo's voice.
Oh.
You see the Sword agent going in the sewer to go through the energy field, and his outside suit actually converts itself into a bee suit, so completely switches. And it shows Jimmy and Darcy watching Wanda and Monica as Wanda is giving birth, and the show is being pretty much censored. And then it goes to Wanda and Monica.
Don't censor me.
Right. Wanda is pissed. And she literally Maximoffs her literally through the energy field. And that's where you see the scene of episode 3 where Rambo was shot straight through the field. Here comes Vision, and Wanda turns around, seeing dead Vision now. Not her live husband, but a zombie corpse, like something from The Walking Dead. And Wanda says it's their home, and she has everything under control. They show Monica as she says it's all Wanda. Wanda and Vision sit on the couch, and Wanda says, "What should we be watching today?" And then the episode ends.
So I have to say something about that. I've been reading a theory about that when she shoots Monica out of Westview or whatever, and that when Monica said about her brother, I'm reading that is what kind of triggers. Basically, they're saying that Wanda is not realizing that she is in an alternate verse, and that when Monica goes, "Oh, your brother died from Ultron," it triggered a memory, which then it made her more self-aware of what's going on.
Yeah, she's created this world for herself, and she's fully kind of engulfed herself in it to the point where she thinks it's real too.
Yeah. All right, so on to episode 5. Look, we're speeding through this. All right, so on to it's called On a Very Special Episode, aired on February 5th. So this is more. It's back to a sitcom. The episode 4 was more like real life based with a little bit of the sitcom stuff, but this is back to the sitcom. It's more 80s vibe. It's like family ties. So it opens with Wanda and Vision joking with babies in each arm, whatever, and they're like, this is the funny thing is that they go, oh, maybe we need help. Ding dong, Agnes appears. Of course, that's how TV shows work, right? So
That's how
Vision
my
is
real life is.
yeah, exactly right. Hey, I need help.
Yeah.
Hello,
No.
hello. Oh man, it doesn't work. So basically, Wanda's like, "Oh, give the babies to Agnes," and Vision's like, "Oh, I don't know about that." So then all of a sudden, it was weird. It was like Agnes looks at Wanda and looks at Vision, and she was like, "Should I take that from the top?" So it was like it was weird because you didn't know what was going on, and she like stopped. It was almost like she was acting, and then was like, "Wait, did that not work? Because we didn't get the response from Vision that we wanted."
Right.
And then Vision's like,
another glitch in the Matrix.
"Yeah." Vision was like, "Duh, what?" So that was weird. All of a sudden, the boys stop crying, and then Vision pulls Wanda to the side and was like, "That was weird, wasn't it?" And she was like, "No, no, it's no big deal." They go back to look at the babies, and they are not in their cribs anymore, and they are now 5 years old. And then a very funny Family Ties esque intro with the babies, and that was it was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's like Family Ties and Full House combined almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So all right, so now we go back to real life, back to Monica's getting examined by like the doctors, blah blah blah. They're saying
Outside the hex.
outside the hex, exactly. So and then they do a meeting, and basically Hayworth is like, Wanda is a terrorist, shows them a video implying that Wanda stole Vision. So now we go back to the sitcom, and the boys have a dog in the sink, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? Because we saw some animals actually. We saw like the the rabbit in the magic show, stuff like that. So the boys decide to name it Sparky, but again, perfect timing. As soon as they get a dog, Agnes pops in with a doghouse. How did she know that they had a dog? So
Time will tell.
yes, it will. So Vision and Wanda think it's weird that, Vision thinks it's weird that Agnes is perfectly timed with the doghouse. They have a discussion. They go, "All right, boys, you can keep the dog if you were 10 years old." All of a sudden, the boys go from 5 to 10, just like that. So weird. But the weird thing about this is, now I forgot to add this, is that when they went from babies to 5 years old, Agnes was there. She saw it. Then when they went from 5 to 10 years old, Agnes was there. They saw it. And it was weird that she wasn't phased by it.
Yep.
Keep
I will say this though: if kids grew up that fast, they save us parents a hell of a lot of fucking money.
Just skip the crying baby years. I think that's it. All right. So back at Sword, Monica wants to go back into the Hex, and they're like, "No, I don't think that's a good idea." They talk about Wanda taking on that Wanda's powerful enough to take on Thanos. Jimmy goes, "Yeah, but Captain Marvel took on Thanos too," and Monica was like, "Boy, you don't mention that name. I don't like Captain Marvel." Dun, dun, dun. Her mom was Maria. Yeah, and Maria was Captain Marvel's best friend. And then she vanished. All right. So they go to Monica's outfit from the 80s, and they're trying to figure out why the outfit is bulletproof. Like, she shoots it, and she goes, "I have a theory." Boom, boom. It's still bulletproof. So basically it means that anything that goes into the Hex gets transformed into the whatever sitcom that they're in, but it keeps the, like, what would you call it? Oh my God, what would you call it? Like the attributes of whatever they were wearing or whatever the item is
Right.
before the
Yes.
Hex. Yeah. So because she was wearing a bulletproof jacket, her 80s outfit when she was transformed in the Hex is still bulletproof. Cool. So now we're back at Vision's job, and they're starting to mess with the computers and all that stuff. And one of the guys is like, "Oh, look at this internet thing. Huh. If I send an email, will I still have to send a postage?" And it's like very like 80s comedy kind of thing. And all of a sudden they get an email and it says like Darcy, and it's like, oh, sword, and everyone's reading it. Everyone except for Vision is reading this thing. So again, another glitch in the Matrix. And then all of a sudden, Vision touches the guy's head, and he goes, "Help! She's controlling us." And he's like, "Who are you talking?" And he's freaking out. Vision touches his head and goes back, and he's very confused by that. So now the boys are teaching the dog a trick. Blah blah. They want to show their dad, and ask where he is. Wanda says work. But now Wanda is confused because she's like, he's working a lot, and that's weird. And they don't seem to be on the same page. So basically, family, blah, blah, blah. So the boys finally ask about their uncle, and she gets all weird, and
At that point, how do they know they have an uncle?
exactly. Right? Isn't that weird? And she basically said he's far away, so she lies to them. So basically, the dog reacts to something. He runs away, and they're trying to find him. And you hear rocket sounds switching to and basically they're trying to contact Wanda again, right, Andy?
Yeah.
There's like another like helicopter. They're trying to contact Wanda. She's getting all pissed. She's like, "Get the fuck out of here! I'm gonna shoot you down." So basically, they go to take the shot, and they find out the little helicopter is armed. All right, you want to take it from here?
It's like a drone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much Rambo is back at Sword, and she's flying the drone, and she is under the impression that they are just going to try and contact Wanda, but instead Hayward is like, "All right, blow her up." Yep. And Wanda's not having it. So she loses control on the drones, and then all of a sudden Wanda starts coming out of the hex with the drone in hand, and she's pissed. Wanda's like, "Listen, you guys got one warning and one warning only. Stay away from her home." Captain Rambo tries to kind of talk some sense into Wanda and states, they're, they can help her. And Wanda's like, "There's nothing you can help me. There's nothing you can offer me. She's got what she wants." And she makes the statement that no one will ever take it away from her again. So I think here she remembers losing Vision and everything slightly, but now she realizes that she has everything back together, so she doesn't want to lose that again. So then Wanda does her Maximoff thing and makes the guards point their guns at Director Hayward. It's like, "Listen, come at me again."
That was a badass scene.
You're going down. Hayward's like, "No, whoa, no." Then she returns. And then there's a commercial. The Lagos paper towel. I didn't understand this.
That's what I got.
Did you explain it then? Because I didn't really get it either.
So it's kind of about like cleaning up the mess, cleaning up your mess, and all this other stuff. And what that's in reference to is the mess that Wanda made at the beginning of Civil War, when everything that happened in basically the Sokovia Accords. That's what this led to.
Yeah.
Like, like at the beginning of Civil War, when she basically
she shoots the guy up and it blows up the building.
Crossbones, yeah. His 5 minutes of glory in the entire MCU.
I feel like he's gonna come back in the Winter Soldier show.
Yeah, possibility.
Like a flashback or something.
So that's like I said, that's a reference to cleaning up the mess, and the mess that had to get cleaned up after she made that mess.
Right. That's cool. So the show returns with the boys looking for the dog, Sparky, and Agnes is behind the bush, and Agnes is holding a dead Sparky. So Wanda looks at the boys and she sees the pain and the sadness in them. She's like, whoa, don't do it. Don't age up. She pretty much tells the boys that the urge to run is too powerful. And the boys say that Wanda can fix everything, even bring the dead back. She also says, then she kind of like has this like weird like look, like, why did you say that? But then Wanda explains to the boys that, like, there's rules in life and you can't rush age or reverse death. Some things are forever. So Vision shows up and comforts the boys. And then next we see Wanda and Vision in the kitchen. And Vision states that he spoke to Norm free of her control and states that he was in pain and starts to confront her about everything that's going on. Pretty much saying, like, you're controlling everything. This point, it's the first time that we see Wanda and Vision start to disagree.
It was good. It was
Yeah.
like they both kind of like floated up, and they were almost like, "I'm gonna fuck you up. No, I'm gonna fuck you up. Let's go, bitch. All right, let's go, let's go, let's go, robot. Let's go. Come on, let's fight." And then the doorbell rang. And he got all pissed. He was like, "Yeah, you're controlling that too, huh? You're controlling the doorbell too, huh?" And she's like, "Wait, no, seriously, I'm not." And they open up the door, and you don't see who it is. Technically, you see the back of his head first, and you're like, "This guy's got some gray hair. What's going on?"
Who is it?
And then,
Who that is?
And then,
Knock knock.
it shows
Who's there?
the Quicksilver
Who?
from the X-Men movies, First Class movies, the one that people like more.
Yep.
Yep. So that was a big like cliffhanger episode. You're like, whoa, wait, huh? How? Are they bringing in the X-Men universe into the MCU? How are they doing that? Are they going to like
by way of the multiverse?
But again, you didn't know.
That was my thought anyway.
Yeah, we were all like, wait, this is going to be epic. If they're really doing this, this is going to be cool. This is going to be cool. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now let's get to the next episode, which was episode 6.
Ooh.
New Halloween.
Before you start episode 6, one big thing that Vision states in their big argument is he always asks why there are no children in Westview. Remember that.
For the children.
Wu-Tang is for the children.
For the children.
Notify your bonds for the children.
For your children. Bon. All right, so episode 6. New Halloween Spectacular. Spooktacular. February 12th. So this one is more of a 90s feel, more like a Malcolm in the Middle.
Yep.
Great show.
Hilarious.
It's Halloween, and Pietro is her brother. The boys are trying to scare him awake, but whatever, it's Halloween, so they're all dressed up. So it's kind of cool in this sense is that Pietro is dressed up like Quicksilver in the comics. Scarlet Witch, or Wanda, is dressed up like Scarlet Witch in the comics. Vision's dressed like Vision in the comics, and the boys are dressed up like they're themselves in the comics, which is kind of cool because the boys end up being super heroes in the future.
Well, the one kid was dressed. He had the same costume on as Pietro Quicksilver when he put on the old school Quicksilver costume, and I thought that the other kid, his costume was very similar to Doctor Strange.
Well, if you look at what they look like when they're teenagers in young Avengers, that is very, very, very similar to what they wear as adults.
Yeah.
So that's their actual their costumes in the comics.
Yeah. I never caught that.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. Wait. Pietro is dressed up as Nick Fury?
Yeah, when they go back as when they're kids and they're in Sokovia and they're doing trick.
Oh, the flashback. Yeah. Yes.
Pietro's dressed up as Nick Fury and Wanda.
That's right.
That's funny.
That's right.
So basically, they end up when Vision comes down, they kind of make a joke that he's a Mexican wrestler. So they have a little bit of music, and Wanda's like, "Hey, you want to wrestle me?"
Whoa, Daddy.
Whoa, daddy.
On cue.
Yes, exactly. So basically, they are just having fun in their costumes. So the scene goes back to like the real life or outside the hex, and they talk about they like arguing that the drone was armed. They didn't agree to that, and basically, Hayworth is like, we want to take out Wanda, and Rambo is like, or Monica's like, nah, fuck that shit. We're not doing this shit. So they basically they get all pissy and they kick her out. Right? That's pretty much what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically back in Westview in the Hex, they're all trick-or-treating, and it's all fun, and the boys are having a good old time, and they're like speeding through, stealing all the candy, and everyone's like, where's all the candy go? Oh my god.
This is when they first realized their powers, that they have
Yep.
powers.
Yep.
Yep. And then Vision's like, oh, I have to go to work, or whatever, beforehand, and now he's kind of like, something's going on here, super weird, don't really get it. So he's like flying through the town, trying to figure out like what's going on. And yeah, it's like there's people he's finding that are like not moving the further he goes away from like the center of the town. So
Or wherever Wanda is.
yeah. So it's kind of weird because everyone's in costume, but like the ones that are closer to Wanda are moving. The ones that are further away are not really moving, or they're moving really, really slow. All right, you want to hit the commercial?
Yes, I do.
I knew you did.
I love this commercial. It's the dumbest commercial ever. And I didn't get it, but I still love it. So there's a kid on the island, okay? Hungry, yo, magic. Kid can't open. Kid saying he's hungry, he's hungry. The shark pops up and says, listen, I got this food. You won't starve. Kid goes, okay. So the kid's trying to open this can, and time's flying by. And all of a sudden, he's starting to decay and he's starting to die and he's turning into bones and his eyes are gone and his skin's gone and he's a skeleton and he's sitting there still holding the can. Never opened it. Hungry, yo, magic. Kid can't open the can and dies from starvation. I still don't understand it, but apparently it'll help you if you're really hungry in a crisis, aka a kid.
I took it as like you can't escape no matter what.
Okay, I can see that.
Like even if you eat, you're still not going to escape this like kind of island that you're on. Kind of like what the doctor said is like it's really hard to escape a small town.
Yeah.
So that's how I took it. I don't know how Sean took it.
I kind of went a little bit maybe a little bit too far with this one and my I guess my assumption of it. I thought the can of food represented something else that we were going to be introduced to later on in the series. The whole feeding thing, the magic. Wanda does not realize certain things or know certain things about herself yet that she basically learns about later and feeds this. It gets fed to her in a certain way later. We can get to that later.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So after the commercial, we basically, like I said, that they Darcy, Jimmy Woo, and Monica get kicked off the site. But before they go, like Darcy's like, I'm hacking this shit. So she basically hacks it, sees that they're actually tracking Vision inside the hex, and they're kind of confused by that. So now you see Vision again. He's like still kind of searching around, seeing why people are being all, weird and not really moving. And he finds Agnes, and she's basically like in a still car at a stop sign at like the edge of town, and he like does a little zip thing to her head, and she's like, where am I? And she's all confused, and she's like, wait, aren't you dead, like to Vision? And he's like, wait, what? And basically he's trying to just figure out what's going on, and then Agnes starts laughing like a witch, and it was kind of weird. And then Vision tapped her back and put her back into her Westview like weird, and she's just like, okay neighbor, goodbye, and starts driving off, and he's just kind of like, okay. And so it switches back, and then basically Rambo's like, she's going back in. Darcy's yelling at her, shows her the blood work, and it seems that Rambo, Monica, has kind of gotten some kind of powers, or her blood has changed and stuff. So it's kind of like.
Well, there's also
weird.
some like, there is also like, Gina and I were talking about that and she was in the hospital for some reason, and they had made some kind of comments there that implied that she had we took it as like she had like cancer and she was in remission, which is why she was in the hospital. And she woke up there in the hospital because that's so she was in the hospital, laid up with cancer, got snapped, came back later, all those years, 5 years later, still in the hospital where she was.
See, I thought that she was in the hospital because her mom was about to get surgery.
I thought her mom had cancer.
Yeah, and then her mom was in surgery and she was sitting there waiting because that's what she said to the doctor. She was like, "Wait, I'm waiting for my mom in surgery," or something like that. She said,
"Oh, maybe okay." So we misinterpreted that. Maybe it was the mom had cancer.
Yeah, I think that because they did say that the mom died 2 years after, or 3 years ago, from cancer because the cancer came back.
Okay. But they mentioned something about her blood work there and made it sound like she's in remission for something like that. So I think that's where we got confused.
I mean, there's so much to like.
Dissect.
There's so much to dissect. Like you can, yeah. All right, so now we end up going back, and basically it's Pietro and Wanda. They're talking about like how she's controlling everything. He goes, "Where are the children?" And she's like, "Wait, they're all trick or treating." Nah, I'm just kidding. She doesn't say that. She gets all confused, like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" And he's basically like, "How are you controlling all this stuff and all this stuff?" And she looks at him and she sees like the bullet holes in him from that's how he died in Ultron. Yeah. So she like kind of like what she did with Vision. She saw Vision dot like his zombie body, and then she got freaked out and went back. So basically, back at Sword, Darcy breaks through and realizes that Vision is on his way out of the hex. So this was kind of a big scene. I don't know if you want to go into it, Andy.
Yeah. So Vision. So before the boys want to go off and go trick or treating earlier in the episode, and she goes, "That's fine. Just don't go past Ellis Street or Ellis Road or something like that." When Vision
and that is where Vision saw Agnes sitting in the car.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Vision starts walking off past Ellis Road, and you now learn that that's pretty much where the hex ends. So Vision is literally pushing himself through the hex. He's trying to escape, but as he starts getting on the other side where Darcy and everybody is, the hex is actually pulling apart his metal. So it's pretty much killing him. If he leaves the hex, he's going to die.
Because he's already dead.
Yep. So Billy Billy hears his father that is in trouble and runs to Wanda and tells him. So then I think it's Tommy who is like, "You need to find him." So Tommy tells him like, he's he's trying to get out or whatever. So Darcy runs up and is like, "Somebody needs to help Vision. Like, it's killing him." And Hayworth, the dick he is, handcuffs Darcy to a car. And Vision locks eyes with Darcy and
Dick.
says, Pietro was like, "It's not like your dead husband can die twice." Then Pietro gets Maximoffed, and now he's passed out. And Wanda pretty much explodes with power and actually starts making the hex even bigger than it was before. Now it starts swallowing up Sword members. It starts swallowing up Sword equipment, the tent. But as it's doing so, it's starting to change it into a circus. You see soldiers running away, and then bam, now they're circus clown. Darcy, who is with one of the soldier takes off, leaves her handcuffed to the car. Hayward's in a car driving away, and Darcy also gets swallowed up in the hex, along with Vision. And they're pretty much trying to outrun it. The planes are turning into hot air balloons. The buildings are turning into circus tents. And Hayworth winds up getting a car, but can't get anybody on the radio. And then that's how the episode ends.
This was like a big cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like I was like, "Oh shit, things are about to pop off."
Yep.
And then it was like, "Nope, you gotta wait, motherfucker."
Things start picking up here, I felt.
Yeah, I agree. Sean?
Oh, he's still there.
Yep, my bad.
So good. So what do you think about that, Sean?
No, like you said, definitely big cliffhangers where things really starting to pick up and ramp up. Really, you're starting to Wanda's starting to become more aware. Memories are being triggered again based on what people around her are saying. So much happened in this episode. The kids realizing, their powers come to light and whatnot. So this is a big one.
Yes. Yes. So I'll start this episode. So episode 7. So we got 3 more episodes. This one, I like this one because I'm a big fan of Modern Family, and this is definitely more of like a Modern Family vibe, like the what do you call it, like the interviews. So the interviews happen and stuff like that, like the, oh my god, what's it called? I just said it with The Office.
Talking Heads.
Talking Heads, yes. So now it's like the Talking Heads.
Well, the opening credits this episode too were very similar to The Office.
Yep. I was about to say it's like Office kind of vibe, so it was cool.
Yep.
So basically, back at Sword, they try to salvage like whatever is left from what like didn't get sucked up in the hex and stuff. So so they're all freaking out, but the part of the hex that got sucked in, they basically became like a circus.
Yep.
And so basically, Darcy got all sucked up in, and Vision kind of lands there, and he's like, "Wait, what is going on here?" And it's kind of a fun little scene in the circus. You want to go into that, Andy?
Yeah, so Vision's looking around, and the strong man comes up to Vision and is like, "Oh, you're the new clown. You're working with the escape artist today." So then you see Darcy chained up in chains, and Vision walks up to him and was like, "Oh, I met you last night." And Darcy's like, "Yeah, I don't know who you are, but let's work together." And he was like, "Come on, you don't remember anything about last night?" And Darcy's like, "Fine, I guess I'll go out with you." Breaks the chains and walks away. So then Vision kind of tricks Darcy. He's like, "Oh, what's over there?" And then he takes her out of her trance, and then Darcy, him and Darcy start talking a little bit,
sharing notes.
What was that?
Sharing notes.
Yeah, they start trying to figure out what was going on or what's happening, but they realize that they have to get back to Wanda to figure it out. So they try to leave. Strongman grabs Darcy. Darcy punches the strongman in the face, and then they take a van and they go on a joyride. So the boys back at the house start talking to Wanda and asking like what happened to their uncle. And now Wanda flips the script and goes, "Don't believe anything that man said. He's not your uncle." So they
she's starting to realize that things are not really what they seem.
Yeah. And she tells, this is where you start to see her kind of like mentally break down, because she tells them like she has no answers for them, and the boys are just very confused at like how she's acting. Then all of a sudden Agnes walks in, and Agnes sees her and is like, "Yeah, you need a mental break. Like, let me take the boys. You sit here, you'll have fun, you'll be fine." And she's like, "Oh, thank you." So Agnes goes, "I have never eaten children. Well, maybe one time." And then randomly is like, "Oh, I got this mole on my back. Can you take it?" "Never mind, that's too much." Then she takes the boys away, and Wanda starts sitting down. She starts watching TV, but then she starts seeing everything start changing and flipping through the years. You can kind of see like she doesn't have her grip on reality anymore, and everything's starting to like kind of flip. This is where she switches to like that interview style Rob was saying, and she starts saying, "I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine," which kind of is a callback to the first episode, to when was Dottie's or Vision's boss's wife is like, stop it," when her husband's choking, and she's looking just straight. And for me, I thought that was almost, they're still stuck in their trance, but they can see everything that's going on. So she sees her husband dying in front of her eyes. So her being like, stop it, like in a playful way, is her like inner voice being like, "Save my husband, please, he's dying, like, help us." So then Rambo finally gets a giant space rover from Sword, because she is convinced that she's going back into the hex. She's got to save Darcy. She's got to try and talk to Vision again. So she finally gets the truck, and as they're lost where I was going.
Trying to get back into the hex.
Yeah. So it basically ends up like just hitting the hex wall and just kind of flipping, and then Monica's like, "Fuck it, I'll make it through without the thing," and she basically like runs through it.
Well, she doesn't just run through it; it takes some effort.
Well, I mean, compared to the truck, I mean, I feel like the truck did a lot more effort than she did.
But she's got to really push herself through it, and basically, this is where we are introduced to Photon.
Photon, that's for sure. So yeah, back at the house, like Wanda's basically just having like a friggin' panic attack, and
losing control and everything.
And everything is like changing from different time eras and stuff like that. And then a commercial happens, and it's Nexus depression meds. Do you have depression? Take Nexus. Basically, it says makes you go to a reality of your choice. Don't take unless you want to move on with life. So I feel like that would be almost, again, I feel like a lot of these have to do with like Wanda and Vision. So I feel like at this one, Wanda is like losing control. She's starting to realize that things aren't real. She saw the dead Vision. So I think that's making her like, you know, it says like don't take unless you want to move on. I don't think she's ready to move on from Vision or Pietro, and that's why she keeps seeing their dead bodies.
Yep.
And I think making you go to a reality of your choice is kind of like what she's kind of doing. She's kind of trying to make like almost like a perfect reality for her brother and Vision. So I think this kind of has to do with her depression and her trying to like understand death.
Well, she's trying to create the world, you know, or this life that her and Vision were like planning for themselves before everything happened.
Yeah. You wanna take this one, Andy?
So here's an interesting thing. So they go back to Agnes's house, and Agnes is sitting on the couch with the boys, and Billy states that it's quiet at Agnes's house and quiet on the inside. But Agnes is like, "Well, what do you mean?" Billy's like, "Well, you're quiet," and they kind of like share like a small little moment of silence, like, "Oh, starting to realize." But then Billy asks if his mom's okay. He says, she reassures them like they'll be fine. There's no reason to worry about her mom. Then again, Rambo breaks through. Well, Rambo tries to put the space rover through the hex. The hex completely spits the space rover out, but it changes the front end on the truck. And then she finally gets through. As she pushes through the hex, you see her kind of split. And one thing I notice is as she's splitting into like different people or different personalities, so to speak, you start to hear back conversations with her and Captain Marvel from Captain Marvel, which I thought was cool. Conversations between her and her mom and Captain Marvel. And then when she gets through, she starts seeing like the hex frequency, seeing everything in like a different light.
Yeah,
she can see
Photon,
she can see like different energies and stuff like that.
Yeah, they didn't really introduce her as like Photon, but like Photon's power, she like absorbs energy and she can use energy as like power and stuff like that. So that I feel like that's kind of why, without like going into too much detail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So after that is basically Wanda and Darcy again, and basically a very kind of sitcom like Modern Family is like they do a little like this is how you died, and then they're going to like drive, out of the hex again, and like they get to a stop sign, and then there's kids crossing. What? And then there's like a construction crew.
Well, they're not trying to drive out of the hex. They're trying to get to Wanda.
Oh, okay. Well,
and like, all these obstacles keep getting in their way.
Yeah, and basically gets to the point that fucking, I was gonna say Vision. He's just like fuck this shit, and he just flies.
Yeah.
And just like leaves her there. If you wanted to go now, Andy.
So he leaves her there. Rambo finally meets up with Wanda, and Rambo pretty much tells Wanda like everything that's trying to go on. But Wanda literally believes that like she's the villain. But she's trying to convince her like what Hayward's like doing, and she's pretty much like get us out, like get out of my home. You don't belong here. Agnes from her house sees through the window and comes out, intervenes, and kind of takes Wanda away. And then back at Agnes's house, Agnes goes to get Wanda some tea, but Wanda is sitting there and she starts looking around and notices how quiet it is. I didn't realize this until now, but there's literally no sound but the sound of the bugs, the sound of the teapot, and like the sound that the rabbit eating the paper.
Wow.
So Linda asks where her boys are. She's like, oh, they're probably playing in the basement. Wanda starts going down into the basement to go look for the boys, but the basement slowly turns into like a dungeon / cave as she walks through.
An evil lair.
Evil layer.
Wanda finds this magical book, and then Agnes reveals that she has powers too. And this was a cool part. Before I say this next thing, as Wanda's going down, if you look in the background, you see like a devil like symbol almost as she's walking down the stairs. So you kind of start to see like witchcraft magic and stuff like that. So then the show switches to the Munsters TV show, which made me so happy. I love the Munsters growing up. So it's pretty much the song starts playing in the Munsters, Agatha all along. As this is playing, it's going through everything. It's showing Agatha at the magic.
Agnes.
Agnes.
Don't ruin it, bro.
She's going like this, and she's toying with everybody. She made Pietro knock on the door and talk to Wanda.
She's in the director's seat.
She's in the director's seat. And then the thing that pissed me off is that bitch killed Sparky. End of episode.
You know what though? I'll tell you right now. I did not see this post credit scene.
What?
So neither did I.
I cut it off beforehand because all the other ones before this, like, there's like 10 minutes of credits, so you don't even think there's anything there.
Yeah.
I had to go back and I saw this credit scene.
Come on, man! You've been watching the MCU for like 12 years. Like you always gotta watch till the end.
This is This is 7 episodes in. The first 6 episodes didn't have anything.
First 6 episodes had nothing.
You never quit. You don't quit. You know that.
Yeah.
So you've been watching these movies for too long, man. You know how this goes.
Listen, some of the Marvel movies got me where they didn't have any post-credit scenes.
There was like 2 movies that didn't. Yeah, I think.
Marvel's got us sitting after like DC, knowing damn well DC ain't got nothing, but we still sitting there anyway, waiting for something.
Yep. All right. Sean, you ready for episode 8?
Do it.
All right.
Are you going to talk about the post-credit scene?
Oh, yeah.
Or are we just going to talk about how we didn't see it?
Well, I was just trying to admit to the podcast that I did not see it at first.
So basically, Rambo finds the cave or like the dungeon, and Pietro pops up and goes, "Snooper's gonna snoop," and you don't know what's going to happen. Roll credit scene. So basically, episode 8, February 26, 2021. We are now no more sitcoms. We are full in action. Last 2 episodes. But it starts in Massachusetts, in Salem, Massachusetts. And basically, it shows Agnes being wrapped around a pole with, you are assuming...
Whoa! This is a Disney show.
Whoa, daddy.
She's not dancing on a pole. She's wrapped around a pole. So basically, it's a bunch of witches, and they're basically calling her a witch, and they're saying that she uses magic in a bad way. And they all try to, like, they're all blasting her with magic beams. And basically, it makes it assume that she is absorbing their magic powers, because all these other witches basically become very brittle and like bones, and they kind of die.
That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what she did.
Yep. And then her mom basically talks shit, and she's like, "I'm gonna kill you because you're my daughter and you're evil." And then basically she absorbs her mom's powers too, and her mom dies.
Yep.
So then we go back to the basement, and Wanda's tied up in this like magical floating little thing, and her arms and legs are tied up, and she's trying to read Agnes's mind, and she's like, "Nah, fuck that bitch, you can't do that." So Wanda's like, "Where are my kids?" Tries to use the magic, but there's like a magic hex spell thing that basically the witch who puts that spell up, any other witches can't use their powers.
Runes. They're called
Runes,
runes.
runes, powers, gems, stones,
Runes.
whatever,
Runes.
whatever. So basically, saying the Tao, she's basically like, Psh, "You're not that strong, but I came here because I saw magic and I want your magic. So how did you do it? How are you controlling everything?" And Wanda's like, "I don't know. Leave me alone." So then basically they start doing like, what is it? A Christmas Story kind of esque. We're gonna go and see your past.
You mean a Christmas Carol?
Christmas Carol, yeah.
There definitely wasn't no Ralphie or no BB guns in this show.
But there is a Ralph in this.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Agnes's husband, who she mentions for the first like 6 episodes, Ralph is gonna be all naughty with this one, and you never see who Ralph is, but we do find out. There was a while that people thought Ralph was the bunny, honestly, which is kind of funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw some like, is Ralph?
Well, the bunny is actually a reference to Agatha's son from the comics.
Agnes.
Agatha Hargraves.
Harkness.
Agnes.
Harkness.
Agatha Harkness.
WandaVision.
Yeah, Agnes is the Wanda created neighbor. Agatha.
Can we talk about one thing though? Agnes was not a bad guy in the comic books.
Yes and no.
She was the babysitter for the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
She watched little baby Fantastic Four because she was like, "Oh shit, this baby's gonna be powerful. I'm gonna watch him and make sure he's a good guy."
Right, and then she became the babysitter for Wanda and Vision's kids, and she did a bunch of mess up stuff there while she was trying to get Wanda to realize her powers.
And then Wanda's like, "Yo, you mess with my kids, you mess with me, I kill you."
Well, because in the comics, what she did to her in the comics, which I thought the direction they were going to go in here, was that she basically fucked with Wanda's head and kind of erased her memory of her children. She like stashed her kids away, which she kind of did here. But in the comics, she erased Wanda's memory of them. So Wanda in the comics didn't even realize didn't even know she had kids. And Agatha basically took her under her wing.
Which leads to this comic book story.
Oh.
Vision gets killed. Hawkeye gets killed.
Everybody dying.
Everybody dying. Sorry, go ahead. Just want to show that.
But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. She there's a lot of while she was kind of Wanda's mentor in a way in the comics, she also did some pretty evil, manipulative stuff to do that.
True, but she wasn't trying to steal no one's powers.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. So we go into the past, and it's basically Wanda as a kid, and it's showing her parents, which you never seen her real parents before, and basically her dad has like a suitcase full of like old sitcoms, like I Love Lucy, Bewitched, like all these shows that basically all the episodes were based off of, and so they're sitting down to watch, and then all of a sudden, like, again, they're in like a war, they're in wartime, and basically a bomb hits their apartment. It seemingly kills her parents, and then there's a bomb just sitting in the middle of her room, and she's under the bed with Pietro, and it's just a red light like the toaster in episode 1. So it seems that every commercial kind of did something to do with her past.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, you didn't catch that one?
I didn't catch that.
Yep.
Ah.
That's awesome.
Yep. So as they're underneath, so the thing is as they're underneath the bed, the TV still works. So they're just sitting there, and apparently they were there for like 2 or 3 days.
And they got snatched up by Hydra.
And then they got snatched up by Hydra. Yep. So then they end up going to this facility where you could see that they're like doing tests on like I guess mutants, you would say, like superhuman. And so they have Loki's staff there and the Tesseract. So Wanda gets put there and she touches it, and this was a big scene. It ends up being like the Mind Stone, and then she sees like the outline of the Scarlet Witch, just the outline in the yellow of the Scarlet Witch. So like I've seen something saying like she's always been attached to the Mind Stone after that, which is why she falls for Vision.
Mm. And there's a
Yeah,
lot of people debating too whether or not, okay, so did the Mind Stone give her her powers, or did they just basically unleash her powers?
Mm.
And it kind of goes into that a little bit deeper, in the next couple episodes when they kind of get into like the history of all the witchery and stuff like that.
Yeah. So now it goes to like kind of like I would say about Civil War, Captain America Civil War. She's in her room by herself, like in the Avengers facility, and she's watching the Brady Bunch. And it's basically Vision comes in, and they just kind of share a laugh, and Vision doesn't really understand the comedy, and they're just laughing, and you can kind of just see that like Wanda's down, and Vision's there to comfort her.
This is where they start connecting, and yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say like the line he was saying, Andy?
so Wanda pretty much talks about like how her grief is like swallowing her up and how like she feels alone. And Vision kind of states like, he's always been alone, that's all he's ever known. So he says, he looks at Wanda and he says, "What is grief if not love persevering?" So um, pretty much the love that was there, is still going. The memory is still going,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's kind of what kind of brings them closer together.
I think like too, it's the thing where her memories of her childhood and her family is, they're poor, they're in this war-torn country, and basically they just sit to kind of, enjoy each other's company and, find some kind of peace amongst all the chaos. That's what they do as a family. They sit down and watch all these old TV shows. And so Vision sitting there and watching TV with her is bringing her back to that comfort zone that she hasn't had in so long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, she like almost feels safe in a way.
Yes.
Yeah. So then the scene switches to like almost current day because, or like a couple days before like Westview, right? It shows Wanda basically post snap, post Thanos, goes to Sword to see Vision because she knew that they had the body there. They don't let her in at first, then Hayward lets her in, goes in the office, and he's like, "No, I can't do anything for you." But he shows her the body. She gets upset. She goes down. So basically, the same scene that Hayworth used to show that she was a terrorist, it's now showing this scene in full. So you actually see that Wanda doesn't is not aggressive at all. She jumps down to see his body. She touches his head and realizes that he's cold, and then she's like, "All right, I'm leaving." So she actually ends up leaving without Vision,
Mm-hmm.
even though they implied earlier that she actually took Vision with her.
Yes.
So she ends up like she gets in the car and she realizes she has a piece of paper and it's like a blueprint to their house. So she ends up going to Westview where they actually um, had plans to build a family, like a family together.
Yeah, she goes to the address and it's just like a foundation. So the house like started to be built, but obviously was never completed.
Yeah. So basically, now from this point, she basically explodes out of like sadness, frustration, and you actually see how she created Westview. It's basically a power surge. It puts like a force field around Westview. It changes everything to from like current to the 50s. You see like almost like a yellow beam come out of her, which then creates vision. So the yellow beam, I think, is implying that it's like the Mind Stone. So she actually
Yep.
uses the Mind Stone, which I think they're implying that it's like part of her, which that's what I'm saying. Like I think it's always been part of her,
yeah.
and that's how she's able to like recreate Vision. And then it basically shows like It shows how they got to episode 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Word up.
Yeah. You want to pick off where I left off, Andy?
So Agnes, like a dick, is just sitting in the stands, just clapping, like, yay. So she then disappears, and Wanda hears the screams of her kids. So Wanda runs outside, and now you see Agnes in all witch form, holding her kids, kind of like by like a magical leash.
Yeah.
And Agnes pretty much explains that this is all chaos magic. And then finally in the MCU, Agnes calls her the Scarlet Witch, and the episode ends.
Yep.
Now,
Yes.
this mid-credit scene, I missed the first time. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah, see, I can't believe you missed this one.
But when I saw it again, oh, it's so awesome. So Hayward, remember how Wanda came out of the hex when they tried to shoot her down with the drone bomb, and Wanda throws it at them. Well, they actually keep the drone because it's got some of the hex's magic on it. So
Chaos magic.
Hayward uses the chaos magic to now power Vision, the Avenger Vision, the Vision that got the Mind Stone ripped from his head, power his body up and bring him back online. Thus, Vision is alive again.
The White Vision.
This is just a weaponized Vision without any of the human aspects of him.
Yep.
No memories, just programming.
Yep.
So we are on to episode 9, the last episode. This is a bit of a heavy one, so we will try to go through it. There's a lot of detail in this episode, so let's try to fly through it, and we will be done after this.
Oh.
Okay. You ready?
I don't know.
All right, let's do it. So basically, it starts with the boy still being choked out by Agnes, and basically they're talking, blah, blah, blah. Wanda throws a fire blast at her and sees that her, like, she's starting to get, like, her powers are being drained, but you can see her body's, like, turning gray. So, like, very Wizard of Oz like, so she throws a car. So basically she realized that if she shoots Agnes, she's going to absorb her powers. So she distracts Agnes and throws a car from behind her. If you realize that's actually from Civil War, she does the same thing to Tony Stark.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yep. So then when she throws the car, she looks underneath the car and you see like the shoes, like the witch's shoes underneath. That's like a Wizard of Oz reference. So then the White Vision lands and basically she's like, wait, are you real? Are you real? Are you real? And he's like, I'm here to kill you, and grabs her head and starts squeezing her. And the real Vision comes and just starts fucking him up. Vision versus Vision fight, which was cool. So basically Rambo's in another room. You find out that Monica is actually being captive by Quicksilver. So we think. So basically Vision is fighting Vision, so that's kind of cool. And then Hayward, basically then it goes back to real time. You see that Hayward's trying to cover everything up, and they're like, "Oh, you did this, you're bad, blah blah blah." So Wanda is walking through the town full of people, and Agnes is starting to like release their minds, and you could see like Dottie is like, "Can I just see my kids? They've been locked up in this in their house. Can I just see my kids?" And she's starting to like feel like all these people are coming back, and they're like blaming her, and they're saying like, she's like, "I'm rescuing you," and they're like, "No, we see your pain in our dreams." So it's like pretty kind of like deep. And then, Agnes is like saying, "You're stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. There's a whole chapter for you in the book, blah, blah, blah." And they're kind of like talking, but they're like slowly like telling you Wanda's powers. And then back in Pietro or Quicksilver, Rambo is looking around and she sees a paper for Ralph Bowner. Ralph Bowner. So basically, if you want to really get back to it, Agnes's husband, who she's talking about for all of the episodes, is Ralph, aka Quicksilver, aka fake Pietro.
Yep, Quicksilver turns out to be the boner champ.
Boner champ. He's got some Andy Bernard boner champ.
Andy doesn't know what the hell we're talking
no,
about.
he does not.
Oh.
So basically, yep. So basically, Monica realizes she basically pins him down and realizes his powers are coming from a necklace, rips it off, and she gets moving. So now here comes the whole like fight thing. So the boys were in the house. They sent him in the house. The boys come out to help. They're in town, and like I said, the people are still saying the nightmares and stuff. So Wanda's freaking out, has a big power surge. And she's like getting like a panic attack, and she ends up choking the townspeople. And like you're like, oh shit, she's about to kill everybody. And then she realizes that's not good, and she frees everybody. And she basically opens the hex enough that all these people can escape. And it looks like she's about to open it, but then Vision and the boys are heading toward her, and you could see them like getting ripped apart. And then Hayworth and his little like posse realize that there's an opening, so they head in too. Yeah.
Yep.
And then after that, she ends up closing it to save her family.
Vision boys are dying.
Yep. Andy, you want to take next?
So Wanda regroups with her family, and then Agnes tries to throw a power shot at her family, but Wanda puts up a shield. So Agnes sees that she has a shield up, so instead of attacking it, she starts sucking the power from her shield, and she pulls Wanda up. So now they start flying up into all right. Now she looks at the boys. The sword crew pulls up. They've all got guns and everything. And Vision comes back. Vision starts fighting Vision, which it looks like he throws him into like a library type deal. And Wanda looks at the boys and goes, handle the guards. Mommy will be right back.
Oh, but before that, really, there was a cool scene that the whole family was sitting up, like, ready to fight. And then, like, Vision's like, boys, we never trained you for this. And then Wanda was like, you were born for this. And it was cool because if you actually look at it, I think it resembles, because again, Disney, it kind of looked like the Incredibles.
Oh,
okay.
I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
all right. Sorry, continue.
So, Vision's fighting Vision in the library, and Wanda goes off to go fight Agnes. Hayward comes out. The boys take all the army's guns and everything, and you see, I think, Billy wearing like the army hat and like the chain and stuff. And Hayward gets out and pulls a gun out on the boys, and he's about to kill them. So he starts letting off rounds, but then Rambo.
It's pretty wild for a Disney show, by the way.
Yeah.
Like friggin' army, friggin' evil army guys, like friggin' trying to shoot and kill little 10-year-old kids in the middle of the street in broad daylight.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
I was shocked by it.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't care. Y'all gonna die today. Like, it's happening. So Rambo jumps in front. She starts absorbing the bullets. They're going through her, but they're like stopping the force. But then you see one pass her head, and then Tommy uses his powers and stops
Matrix, bro. He went all Neo on him.
Grabs it and just drops the bullet. She was like, "Oh, cool powers." He's like, "Yeah, you too." So Hayward's like, "Forget this. I'm getting out of here." Hayward tries to jump into the truck, and he tries to get away. And then here comes Darcy out of nowhere, T-bones him in the side. Darcy's like, "Gotcha." So she's like, "Have fun."
Yeah. And speaking of this, like, okay, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but we fast forward to when things are getting cleaned up. How the hell are both Darcy and Hayward walking without a scratch on them after this collision?
Darcy disappears, actually. Wu goes, Monica at the end, well, I'll say it, but Monica basically goes, where's Darcy? And Wu's like, oh, she doesn't like the paperwork.
Right.
Yeah.
But regardless, they're putting Hayward in cuffs later, and he's just walking around like, how is he not paralyzed on his left side at least?
Listen,
Right? She hit him pretty hard too. It wasn't like a love tap. Like she slammed in the car.
How did she not go through the windshield of that truck?
Right?
Yeah. So basically, after that, it was like Vision versus Vision, which I honestly I had a good time watching this because you never really get to see Vision's like powers, really in any of the movies. So the fact that he's using his own powers against himself, and it's like he's like putting his arm through it and pulling them and like diving, and then you could see the White Vision goes to like pull his like his center his like forehead off like Thanos did, and then he like teleports out. It was a really cool scene, and like Andy said, they end up in a library, and they end up talking about like who is the real Vision and like who creates who, and it's like this little like philosophical thing of like the creation of a creation is the real creation, and like if you take the pieces from one and then recreate it into something, is it really the true being? And basically they kind of have this like talk battle of like who's the who, and the good Vision, the colored Vision, ends up touching his head and giving him like all his memories back, and the White Vision's like, I am Vision. So
his eyes change and everything.
Yeah.
It goes from like the robotic like eyes to like the more humanoid Vision eyes.
Yeah.
So and then he like shoots through the roof and like you don't see him again. But I've heard two things on it. It's either one, he's realized that he is Vision and he needs to like he's trying to like figure himself out. Or if you remember, he goes, I am here to destroy Vision. And the fact that he admits that to himself that he's Vision is he trying to destroy himself.
Ah, I have a theory about this too, but we could do that. We can get into that later.
Okay. So basically, Wanda and Vision are reunited with the twins now, and they're all like looking at her, and yeah, basically, there's a big distraction, and Wanda sneaks up behind her. You know how in uh,
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, she like Wanda does a thing to Tony Stark and like puts him in the past and or like the future. So
she did it to all. She did it to all of them in that movie.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Spoke up bad.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So basically, she does the same thing to Agnes, and she puts him in like the Salem, Massachusetts again. And then they're talking, and all the witches come back to life, and they turn on Wanda instead.
Witches.
And she's like, "Oh no!" And then Wanda has like the Scarlet Witch like crown pops up on her head, and it just like fucks everything up. And then they end up like floating in the sky, and they're like talking, and Wanda is basically like, at this point, I feel like Wanda's like, okay, I'm just gonna sacrifice everything, and she just starts like fire blasting Agnes, and you could see her like deteriorating, and it got to the point that like you were like, oh no, Wanda's about to die, and all of a sudden Wanda just stops, and the same little rune trick of the witch who casts the runes, other witches can't like use their powers. Basically, she does it and pulls it on fucking Agnes, who now Agnes loses all that power, and basically Wanda absorbs all of her power back and the power of other witches.
Yep.
And yeah, you want to add to that?
But I think it's important too, like when it goes to that scene, back in Salem and the 1600s and all that, all the witches turned on Wanda because there's that chapter in the Darkhold, which we haven't really talked too much about, that basically alludes to the Scarlet Witch and all her, how she's like the supreme witch or whatever, and they gave the kind of a Agnes told her that she would be eventually more power than like the Sorcerer Supreme, which we know is currently Doctor Strange. So they know that she's kind of like this all powerful being that's there to just destroy everything.
Yep. Which is like,
but Wanda doesn't realize that about herself yet, even though Agnes has been trying to tell her that. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Wanda's not trying to hear it.
Yep. And then basically she tells that this is like chaos magic, and she finally calls her the Scarlet Witch after she ends up absorbing all the powers, and basically she like, what would you say? She like teleports into her new outfit.
It's
her like
dope.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. So then they both like float to the ground. Agnes is powerless, and Wanda's standing over, and she's like, "All right, listen, I'm not gonna kill you, but I'm gonna like make it hard for you." So she basically says, "I'm gonna like erase your memory, and keep you in this town forever." So, but before that, Agnes is like, "You're gonna need her," and Wanda's like a badass, and she's like, "Well, I know where you'll be." So, and she basically hits her like Vision does in the head, and she ends up going back to like her neighborly, like, "Hey neighbor," from like the first couple episodes, and then she's like, "You look dynamite in that suit," or something like that. She like makes like a sexual little comment. Yeah. So basically, Vision's like, "All right, you got to make everything right, if you know, for everybody else." And it was like a little heartfelt thing that they end up back at the house. Like the bad guy was defeated, so they end up back at the house. They're tucking the boys to bed and they're saying goodnight. And you know, it was kind of sweet because Wanda's now realizing that she has to let the boys go, and she has to let everything go. And so they tuck. She's like, you guys didn't know what you did to me. Like basically saying like you guys mean a lot. And she kissed the boys on the head, on the forehead, and basically says thank you for choosing me to be your mom. And
Wow.
yeah, that was pretty heartfelt right there. And you could see the hex is starting to like slowly fade and ends up going into you want to go to this one where it goes?
Yeah. So as the hex is starting to come off the city, you start to see everything go back to normal. You start to see the cars return back. You start to see the circus leave. So Wanda and Vision, you see Wanda walking through the living room and she's turning off all the lights. So she gets to turn off the last one, but then Vision turns on another one. Vision like he read somewhere that it's bad luck to say goodbye in the dark. And Wanda's like, no, you didn't. Vision's like, yeah, perhaps not. I just wanted to see you clearly. He kind of wanted to see her again. So they share a moment together, and then Vision's like, listen, just tell me, like, what am I? Like, what am I made of? And Wanda pretty much says that he's a piece of the Mind Stone that lives inside her. That makes me think that when he did touch the Tesseract and saw the Mind Stone, it did blast her, and that probably is what woke up her powers, but also
Mm-hmm.
like stayed inside her. Um, and then he said, and I quote, "They've said goodbye before, so it stands to reason they'll say hello again." I have a theory about this, but I'll say that later. Um, so the hex rushes over the house, and you start to see the things in the house like turn back to normal. Another reason why I think the Mind Stone is with Insiders because as Vision is um, now leaving because the hex is leaving, you start to see the Mind Stone like yellow like residue, so to speak, um, turn him back as he's disappearing in her hand. Um, so after all that is done, she's pretty much standing there on the same plot that she got there with after she visited George. Um, and after she was angry. So she's now walking through the town of Westview. And now all you see is angry people. You see the whole cast of WandaVision, and they're just angrily staring at her. And then her and Rambo share a couple words, and like, uh, Rambo states like they'll never know what Wanda sacrificed for them, saying like they'll never know like Wanda gave up her entire family for them. And Wanda's like nothing's gonna change how they see her. They're still gonna see her, as a
Mm-hmm.
bad guy. Then she switches to her suit and she flies off and she stops at the Westview sign, kind of looks back one more time and then flies away.
And that's the end of the episode. All right,
Until
let's get into the post credit scenes.
Credits.
All right, so it shows that Jimmy Woo has finally got everything under control, and he's looking like a badass boss. He's like, do this, do this, do this, do this, and Rambo's like, okay, I see you. Look at you, kind of badass. And then some lady comes over and goes, Rambo, they want to see you, and they take her to over to the movie theater, and this agent comes out and was like, he wants to see you, and she's like, what, where? And she points to space, and she turns into a scroll. I was like, theory proven #1. So basically, it's saying that Monica Rambeau, is probably going to be part of Captain Marvel 2. And she's going to go meet up with Nick Fury, who you last saw at the end of Spider-Man. He was up there having like a vacation-esque looking with the Skrulls.
Yeah, he's doing some, I think Spider-Man Far From Home, and he's up there like doing some super secret training with the Skrulls.
Yeah, having a good old time.
That's right.
I'll scroll him is down on Earth.
Yeah, that's true. And then the second credit scene, which I feel like ties in a little bit more with Doctor Strange. I don't know if you guys say, but basically it's like a mountain,
of course,
and it's like a little cabin, and you just see Wanda kind of like walking inside. She's about to drink her tea. She's getting all set, and it looks like normal. Like it just looks like she's living on her own in the middle of the woods. And then it pans out it pans into like the bedroom in the back, and you see like almost like a shadow-ish, like ghost figure of Scarlet Witch reading that the Darkhold. Yep. And I took that as like she's trying to figure out a way to get Vision and the boys back without like having to control a whole town again.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different places we could go with this. I mean, this is where we could go really off the rails, and this could probably be another hour-long conversation about all this shit. But that's like, there's when it first panned in on that cabin with her, it immediately brought me back to like, Thanos, the beginning of Endgame. That was his deal. He wanted to retire and just like live this very simple life. And so here she is now trying to find his own peace for herself in the middle of nowhere. But then, of course, like you said, it's that, that silence, like at Agatha's house with just a tea kettle and stuff like that. That's what you get here. But then it goes into the back room and it's basically her astral projection, just like Doctor Strange. That's how Doctor Strange studied in his sleep.
Yep.
But, and there's like references to how Scarlet Witch is going to be more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange. And here's the thing. Doctor Strange could not be awake and also have his astral projection doing stuff. So this is where it's showing that she's more powerful than him, because she could be, her physical being can be awake doing stuff while her astral projection is also like studying and learning and all that stuff.
That's big.
And at the same time, so we were talking about theories earlier about, things that we thought were going to happen, didn't happen. I was, really heavily leaning towards like Nightmare and Mephisto and stuff like that. But now my mind has changed. And this is where, after a couple days of digesting all this, being disappointed at first, now being excited to where it can go, I think that this is going to lead to Chthon.
Okay. I heard another boss,
because
but I can't remember his name.
Because he was basically the god of chaos, the writer of the Darkhold.
Yes, that's the name.
And he manipulated Wanda. Like basically, this book is in her possession, and he's manipulating her through this book. And this is where the whole Scarlet Witch, more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, chaos, destroys everything. This is where she's learning it. And I made a comment earlier about the thing with the the commercial with the kid on the beach couldn't open the can, but it's like supposed to feed him and all that stuff. That book is the can of food, and it's feeding Wanda's power. It's feeding Wanda her powers.
Because she's chaos powers, and the name that you just mentioned is the chaos.
Chthon.
Yeah.
It's like CH.
She couldn't open it because she hasn't found the book yet.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is where I feel like this is why I wanted to come on the episode, because to talk about all these like fun little theories here. I didn't say shit most of the time for the last hour and a half. But there's a lot of talk about them finally introducing the X-Men into the MCU
as the mutants.
What's always been one of the biggest conflicts like within the X-Men?
You mean like the humans versus the mutants, or like House of M?
Right. The X-Men versus the humans. The humans are scared of the mutants and their powers. as Wanda's walking back through Westview at the end there, everybody sees what she's capable of, and they're all scared of her now.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of. I'm really excited to see like where this could go. Like after Endgame and all that stuff, I'm like, oh man, what direction can they go in? They killed off this guy. This story ended. That story ended. Where are they gonna go? And this show completely blew open for me so many possibilities as to where they could go now that I'm super excited for Phase 5 now.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah,
it's like because and and I have a theory that what if White Vision flew his ass to Wakanda?
Oh, because they have the mind. They have like his memories that they pulled in Infinity War. That's a good.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yep.
So maybe he could show up in Black Panther too.
Yeah, and
yep.
Yep.
And we know that Paul Bettany is not cast in Doctor Strange 2. So I don't think he's gonna be. I don't think he's gonna be in Doctor Strange 2.
I think it's good to keep him separate for a little bit.
Yeah, I think ultimately, through manipulation from Chthon, if that's correct, I think Wanda's gonna be more of a villain through part of Doctor Strange 2, kind of competing with Doctor Strange over who's more powerful and whatnot. She's gonna cause all kinds of chaos and shit. But then we find out who the real, who's pulling the strings.
Okay. I found a couple little like small little things on
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I got one more Doctor Strange thing here.
All right.
If you remember in Doctor Strange 1, when Wong first brings Doctor Strange into like the library where all the books are.
I was literally about to say that.
There's the one book missing on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
What's that book, Rob?
I think it's the Darkhold book.
Yes, sir.
Yep. I put Darkhold book might be the book missing in the Doctor Strange library.
Yep. Wong needs to upgrade the security system there. He's doing a shitty job.
Another thing I wanted to add is that if you think about it like this in two different things, I already said that it's comparable to Wizard of Oz, right? But if you look at it in a deeper way, it could be related to the Wizard of Oz more. So obviously it's a young girl trying to escape reality. The people in the real world are casted in as characters in the fake world.
Yep.
Yep. The Wicked Witch. There's a witch involved.
Yep.
You get the card thrown on her. You see her feet, and then when you see the,
I didn't put any. I did not put any of this together while I was watching it.
And then you see like on the movie theater, like when it's starting to change back, Oz the Powerful is one of the movies.
One of the movies that flashes by or on the marquee, right? On the marquee, I did notice that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool like that. And then another thing I saw is that the entire series is Wanda going through the stages of grief.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, so obviously denial, anger, like all that, whatever. And then the last one's acceptance is when she was able to let them go.
Yeah. And it all started when she built the house.
Yep. Yeah. But that was her denial. That was her denying the fact that she lost her brother, she lost Vision, she never was able to start that family, and then then in her own reality she created everything that she wanted, and then she realized that this is not what she needs, and then the sacrifice, the acceptance that all that is gone allowed her to let them go, even though she got it all.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's deep.
Yeah. All right, so we are already past midnight at this point. We've been going for a long time. How about we do some final thoughts and call it a night?
Sounds good to me.
Or unless we've said everything, I don't know. You guys go.
I'm excited to see where they go with it. Like I said before we started, if this is just one series and that's it, and this is how they're starting, because you got to think we're in the pandemic now, not many movie theaters are open, so they don't have the ability to have people go and kind of build a story like that. But to be able to release WandaVision, to be able to release Winter Soldier and Falcon, putting those together and then having it lead into the next movie, I think is going to be huge. And it's a different step. It's a different take. You're constantly getting Marvel movies to you in a shorter span. I can't wait to see Vision and Wanda reconnect again as the original Vision and Wanda. Well, almost the original Vision and Wanda. Because I think that's going to be awesome. And I think that's going to play a huge role. And yeah, I love the series. So I was so happy to watch it. I'm so happy I kind of stuck through it. You know, the beginning was kind of slow, but it was awesome. I'm excited to see what they do next.
Like my favorite part about it is I thoroughly enjoyed it. But what I like about it the most is how much this potentially like this really is a launching pad for the next like phase 5 of the MCU.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's like again, there's really like kind of there's 3 or 4 big stories that they can get out of this one series. You know, you get you know, the Doctor Strange in the multiverse. You get the next Captain Marvel movie. You get the Secret Invasion storyline that they are rumored to be doing something with coming up here. There's so many directions that they could go in with this. And they kind of left it in a way too where none of the characters got killed off. All these characters can make an appearance at some point in one of these movies coming up here. Wanda's gonna need Agatha at some point again.
Yep.
Vision is gonna show up somewhere. Those kids are gonna show up somewhere.
Yep.
You know, like Monica, you know, Photon, she's gonna show up somewhere else. You know, Woo, like Jimmy Woo, like his you know, his character obviously just became a lot more important to the MCU.
They're talking about a Darcy Jimmy Woo side show. Did you hear that?
Which would be great. Like do like one of the things I read was like have them do like a quirky kind of like MCU version of like the X-Files with the two of them.
Yeah.
It's so dope.
Right?
Cool.
Did you know that I heard an interview that Jimmy Woo, the guy who plays Jimmy Woo, forgot he was on The Office for that one episode. It always goes back to The Office.
Yeah.
Andy.
Well, at this rate, it's gonna be another 10 years before Andy knows what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah,
it's 15, but you know
that doesn't happen until like the last season. So,
it was one of the last few seasons. Yeah. Hysterical scene.
Yeah, it was. I think we actually talked about it on the Office episode.
Pretty sure we did.
Yeah. So my general thoughts is that I'm happy that it was slow. I'm happy that it built. I'm happy that it was weekly because it was like it gave everyone like a week to kind of like theorize and figure out what's going to happen next. So I thought that made it like a big talking point. Like Sean just said that it does play so into so many different movies and shows. One thing I'm excited for is the possibility of the House of M storyline, which would be epic. And that's if she turns bad. Basically, she goes no more mutants. And she basically like erases mutants from Earth or like in the universe. So cool storyline, awesome storyline. So that would be an awesome movie, and that could be a way to like introduce the mutants. You know, maybe that's why the mutants are called that new X-Men upcoming movie or whatever is called the Mutants and not X-Men. Right. So maybe it like establishes the mutants, and then she goes no more mutants, and then when they bring them back, inevitably that's when they turn into the X-Men.
That'd be dope.
So like Wanda plays such a big role in so many different storylines. Like it's so cool. And one thing I didn't add before because I didn't want to spoil anything, but in the comic books, Wanda and Vision actually get divorced in 1989 because when Vision turns to the White Vision, he does lose his personality and his like human side, and he's just basically a plain robot, and basically obviously with no emotional and human aspect to him. You know, they lose connection, and the Wonder Man was actually the DNA or whatever, or like the mind that was put into Vision, and they say that Wonder Man was actually in love with Wanda, which is what made Vision love Wanda.
Oh.
And they asked Wonder Man if he would give his mind back again, like a piece of his mind back to Vision, to get him to return to the old Vision, and he refused because he was being selfish and being like, "Well, I love Wanda. If I give Vision his mind back, then I have to compete with Vision again."
Wow.
Okay.
Comic book.
I think another thing I just kind of popped in my head too, like with Wanda and Vision. So Wanda lost Vision, but at the same time, the white Vision that came back is the Vision that everybody was trying to prevent. Like Tony Stark and everybody, the last thing they wanted was for the Vision to be like weaponized.
Yep. But hopefully
there's
now
also
that
some
I was gonna say, hopefully now that he gave him his memories back, that won't happen.
word up. I mean, there's some theories out there too that maybe this is a possible way for them to maybe a way to bring back Ultron.
Yes,
It's through the white Vision.
that'd be cool.
That'd be crazy.
Yep.
Then have a standoff between Wanda and Ultron / Vision.
Yep.
Yeah, because Ultron definitely never gets killed just like that easy.
Well, again, in the comics, and we're way past time here now. But,
Yeah.
In the comics, like Ultron was just as big of a threat as Thanos was.
Yep.
And I thought personally it was a crime that, the movie Age of Ultron was a great movie, but at the same time, I think, Ultron could have benefited from they could have done that character more justice had they done like a multi-movie arc with him.
Agreed. Yeah. All right. So before we keep going down the rabbit hole, because if we could definitely go down the rabbit hole, let's just say Winter Soldier and Falcon's coming out soon. Hopefully that adds on to the storyline. Maybe it doesn't touch it at all, but I think between WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki, I think all three are going to play a role moving forward to all the movies. And I think Loki comes out after Black Widow, so like the timing is always weird with them, but they do it on purpose. So I'm excited for all that. We will definitely be reviewing Falcon and Winter Soldier. That comes out not this Sunday, but the Sunday after. So they're doing this Sunday is going to be like a docu-series or a docu episode on WandaVision of like how it was created. It's probably going to talk about like the storylines that they pulled from and stuff like that. I'm actually interested in watching that. But then the week after that is the start of Falcon and Winter Soldier. We will be on top of that. Don't worry. I will be asking Andy every single week if you watch that in The Office, and he'll always say yes to that and not The Office. But as always, let's just say goodbye for now. This is going to be probably our longest episode. If you made it this far, awesome. I will say goodbye for myself. But before I do that, I will say like, share, comment, rate, review, and all that good stuff. Subscribe, follow us. We're trying to get the YouTube numbers up, so we appreciate if you follow, like, subscribe on that, comment on that. It does help with the algorithm. Again, always, like we said, go see on the Instagram. You'll figure out who's doing what story between us. And I will say goodbye for me. Have a good night. You guys could say your outs.
Oh, daddy. Thank you, guys. Even though we're saying goodbye, we'll see you soon. This is Andy Bivians signing off. This is goodbye for me.
See you guys again in like 3 months.
Maybe sooner. We'll see it because I know that Jerome wanted to do that wrestling top 10 wrestlers, so maybe we'll have you on for that one.
All right, let me know. I don't know if Jerome knows what he's getting himself into there, but all right.
Yeah, I don't think so. He probably won't hear this because he doesn't listen all the way to the end.
I mean, this is a long end to get to.
Well, we'll see. Well, let's test it. Jerome, if you hear this, hello, Jerome?
Jerome!
Who's making you do this? Jerome, who's making you do this? Jerome. Bye!